Hey, Alex, can you hear this? That's your time clock, okay?
My son would eat
Talk fast.
so they go to the farm.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, let's supply the market. Yeah.
Tonight.
Four.
Oh.
Yep.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Cox.
Here.
Commissioner Graven. Here. Commissioner Phipps.
Here.
Mayor Hall.
Here. Consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will occur unless a council member requests the item to be removed from the consent agenda. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be considered elsewhere on the agenda for this meeting. Prior to asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the mayor will ask if anyone desires to remove an item from the consent agenda for public discussion. Is there anyone that would like to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I have one question about bills and payroll.
Okay,
We're approving a bill for Thompson Coburn, the law firm for the sports complex,
right.
and they are going to reimburse us part of this money back.
That's all of it.
Do we have to make a separate motion just
No.
for that?
This is all taken care of in a previous council meeting. So we don't have to do anything extra.
Okay.
So do we bill them?
Yes.
Have we billed them?
We get to, not yet. we just got-
We approved it first.
So, yeah, we'll give that to
we'll bill
them.
them, Madam.
They'll reimburse us.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Nope, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now let's see. Any other questions about the consent agenda items? Okay, I moved to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September the 6th, 2022, the bills and payroll for the first half of September 2022, and resolution number 2022-3209, approving the continuance of a local state of emergency due to coronavirus COVID-19. Can I have a second to that motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Cox and roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. Yes. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Presentations, petitions, and communications. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for persons who desire to address the council. The Illinois Open Meetings Act mandates that the city council may not take action on comments received on matters that have not been identified on this agenda. But the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the matter for action on the agenda for another meeting. Persons addressing the council are requested to limit their presentation to 3 minutes and to avoid repetitious comments. We would also ask that you state your name and address for the record as well as stand when speaking. Would anybody like to address the council before we get into the next presentation? Anybody have anything? Okay, seeing none, we do have a presentation this morning from Alex Benischek and related to Move to Mattoon program. Alex, I'll take a few minutes here to inform the council about what's going on. And Alex, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you all so much for your time. Again, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex Benischek. I'm the Community and Economic Development Associate with Mattoon in Motion. Really excited to be here today to talk about this program. And again, I really just have to give a shout out to our Mattoon business community. Without them, this program wouldn't have been possible. So yeah, the situation in 2022 is that COVID has completely changed how and where we work. Back in March of 2020, we have about 5 million remote workers in the United States total. As of August 2021, there's about 40 million in the United States, with over 500,000 remote workers that are moving to a new city or state every single year. And so that means that there's a lot of potential. towns like Mattoon are able to attract tech workers and their higher level executives to our communities. And down the road, this could lead to new startups or different types of businesses being created right here in Mattoon, Illinois. And rural towns are really able to be extraordinarily competitive when compared to urban areas. And a great example here is LinkedIn now allows a lot of their remote workers, LinkedIn now allows a lot of their employees to work remotely. And so if we were able to just attract a slice of that to our community, we'd be able to essentially have a fraction of a new factory or corporate office in our community with much less expenditure or risk. And that's a direct quote from Mark Murrow, who is the Senior Fellow and Policy Director of the Brookings Institute. And so why would somebody come here from a larger city, right? Well, lower cost of living, shorter commute times, better and more individualized schooling, quality healthcare, lower instances of crime, and the ability to be closer to nature. And as you can see, homes are a little more affordable here in Mattoon as well compared to larger, more metro areas. Yeah. And so, there's a couple of differences between manufacturing workers and remote workers. Manufacturing workers require, physical infrastructure. They're harder to attract locals to some of those positions. They don't provide as much disposable income within the community. And factories, unfortunately, could close or even leave a town, right? Well, remote workers have a little bit of a different set of infrastructure. So, as long as we have internet, quality broadband in our community, they're able to stay here. Youth are more likely to have those jobs. So we're attracting and retaining more youth in our community, right? They provide more disposable income for use within the local economy. And there's a lot less of a risk for remote jobs to leave here because they're not necessarily geographically constrained with a corporation. As long as they like our community, they can stay here. And here's some remote salary comparisons between, our region and the nation. And, at the end of the day, your average American isn't going to move across the country for a $30,000 manufacturing job. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be pursuing these types of workers and creating incentives for them in our community. It just means that we should utilize some different ways on how to approach that, right? So it could be immigration incentives, sister city relationships, or even, and this is informed by the study that was done by Lakeland College, professional growth plans, people realizing that they really matter to an organization. But that's a conversation for another day. For remote workers, there's a lot of incentives that exist that we could utilize and are utilizing right now to get them into our community. And so as of right now, Mattoon, Illinois has about nearly $12,000 that we're giving to 5 remote families each in order to get them to come here and bring their tech skills and experience to our community. And so part of that is $5,000 cash towards moving expenses, a membership at Elevate, 6 months at the YMCA. I'm not going to read the whole list, but really it's just been an incredible investment from our local business community. And it just really shows that we have a lot of support behind this project. And these incentives that we've offered to these remote workers are further complemented by the things that we already have or might have. And there's a bunch of other, well, not a bunch, but 71 other communities in the United States that are doing this right now. Mattoon, Illinois is the only city in this entire state that has one of these programs. Quincy might do that soon, but as of right now, it's just us. Greensburg, Indiana, $5,000 cash, YMCA membership, co-working space, theater tickets, but they're also offering something called a Grandparents on Demand program, which sounds cute, and it is, but really, it led to them getting 1,700 applications in 6 weeks because of the demand that is around childcare in this nation. There's some not as great examples. I don't mean to, be a little mean to Greater Rochester, New York, but where's the business community in this? where's the, the representation from your mom and pop stores? Cash isn't always king. Stillwater, Oklahoma does a great job at this. They do about $2,000 at a coffee shop, martial arts classes, bunch of neat things. Moving forward, a lot of this programming with the Make My Move program is directed through a application or software called Make My Move. It's a company that was founded by the co-founders of Angie's List. And really, their main job is to connect remote workers with the municipalities that are trying to attract them. They provide the website, tools, and basically back-end software that allows us to see their income, family size, and other important demographical things that would better inform our choice on who might be a great fit to come here. And normally in the presentation, this is a video where you get to see how we unlock some folks. But not able to do that with the PDF here. We spend about $600 a month on this program, just administrating it, to be able to find the contact details of about 25 movers per month, invite them for an interview, then have a quick conversation with them over a Zoom call, maybe a little more detailed follow-up after that, and then eventually invite them to sign an MOU to move to our community. And the entire objective of this program is to bring 5 high-salary remote executives and their families to here within a year of program launch. And right now, we already have one of those 5 families that has signed an MOU to relocate here. And again, $60,000 raised from our business community without our, without Mattoon in Motion's relationship with the Chamber of Commerce, we, again, would not have been able to do this. Our initial pilot program was just aiming for about $10,000 per family, so still around 60. But one of the main reasons why we're partnering with Make My Move is that we could have the best marketing website in the world, but if nobody sees it, there's no point, right? So each year, they get about 600,000 unique visitors seeing their website. And these are just folks, they're not looking up Mattoon, Illinois. They're remote workers that are trying to relocate. They have 45,000 active users each month. And in the past, you can see all the data there, but really the results speak for themselves for other communities. And so what we do is we take them, bring them to our media. This is a website that Mattoon in Motion has created that showcases all of the unique things that our town has to offer. And our 3-month results since starting this program is that we have had over 190 applicants with an average income of $65,000 that are represented from over 30 different states and actually 2 countries. And they have a lot of really unique things to say about our town. We're in talks right now with trying to get a Boeing executive to relocate back to Illinois to Mattoon. And this is what they have to say. They're looking for a break from Seattle and its hubbub, but they don't want to give up and become hermits. Our vibrant downtown, lakes, and community are really exciting to them. They want a quiet place to call home, but still be able to, go to a local coffee shop or a diner. They want to be able to enjoy the outdoors and simply slow down a little bit. Mattoon has that for us. And that said, all of our recruitment should be part of a broader strategy that our community, should be pursuing. And, we need to understand, what does it look like right now when somebody wants to come here or even visit here? I've been in this community for 10 months now. And the first thing I did when I found out my fellowship was going to be in Mattoon, Illinois, was I Googled it. And the first video that came up was Mattoon, Illinois, a town that has started to fade. That's not really a good look for our community, right? And so, what are the things that people are seeing, and how can we combat that negative digital narrative? And I truly believe things like Move to Mattoon and the websites and videos and stuff like that, just popping up those numbers online, can really change people's first impression of our community as they look us up. And the recruitment piece, how do you give people that extra push? How are people welcomed in our community, right? And so, there's a few areas where we can improve. We need to understand these larger trends like remote working and get ahead of them. This will allow us to adapt as, all the industry norms start changing. Marketing, having a few videos for the town. Nobody's going to get excited about a wall of text, right? They got to see what makes Mattoon great. And once they see what makes Mattoon fantastic, what gives them that extra push to come here, right? And then welcoming. What happens when someone moves here right now? Who welcomes them to the community? How do you become involved? And if we don't know the answers to those questions, or we don't like the answers to those questions, we should probably try to work with our business community that has created this incentive program and ask them like, hey, maybe we could host a potluck every 3 months or 6 months to welcome new residents, things like that. And I will mention, housing has been a pretty big challenge for this program. We've had a couple of folks not sign MOUs because they weren't able to find the type of housing that they were looking for. But there's a couple areas where we've been successful too. We've been mentioned directly in Fortune magazine and Governing magazine. In Fortune, we were listed as one of the top 10 communities for remote workers to move to in terms of incentive value. And if only their editor could have spelled the name of the town, that would have been really nice. And then we were also indirectly mentioned in the Wall Street Journal and directly quoted by Governing. MOU commitments, again, 1 out of 5. Have already signed up, and we're not even half a year into the program. And again, the community support for this would not have happened without our business community. And really, that's all I got for you. That is how we put Mattoon in motion. And, I'd love to take any questions if you have.
How much is that person can sign the MOU?
I want to say 900,000. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No.
Alex, those people may have a comment. Of course, you've done a great job since you've been here helping in this process. And this is a great opportunity for us. We've got a lot of real positive, comments that have been made by national organizations. Certainly, this is something that we need to go after and do a good job at. So I just appreciate what you've done.
Absolutely.
Others, I'm sure, feel the same way.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Appreciate your work on it. It's very looking to the future. This is a fantastic opportunity, and hats off to everybody who's participated. And it's exciting with the business community, their support behind it. The individuals that you're interviewing, so to speak, do they do a on-site visit at any point?
Yeah, so we actually found that to be a direct need of this program, and so we opened that up basically in the MOU and completely bolded out letters. We're saying, hey, if you have second thoughts about this, if you're not sure, come visit. We'll give you a tour. And that tour would be led by the Move to Mattoon team and also anybody else in town that'd be interested in showing folks what's awesome about Mattoon, Illinois. So,
Great job.
appreciate your time. And if you got any questions, feel free to follow up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the list is new business, starting with, yes.
Get somebody mute.
Trying to find out.
I think we've got somebody online.
Somebody online have a question?
No, their microphone's on. There's feedback. They just need to.
Okay, yeah, if somebody would mute, everybody online would mute their mics so that we are not have interference when we trying to conduct our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, make a motion to adopt resolution 2022-3210, authorizing the Public Works Director to approve the bid and the execution of a service agreement for the electrical aggregation program for the city of Mattoon.
A second on that motion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments anybody has about this motion?
Yes, I do.
What was that, Dean? Okay, go.
We've been in this program since 2013. And basically, we have a consultant that bids our electrical supply for us. We are in a group with Charleston, Coles County, Harris, Effingham, a variety of other communities. Early in the program, we were able to save our residents a lot of money per month, like $1,500 a month. And over the course of time, the value of the program started waning. We were saving people $3 a month and then for 6 months, and then we'd lose $3 a month for a few months. At our peak in the past, we'd saved everyone $400. And by a wonderful fluke, we signed a really low rate 2 years ago, and which is 5 cents a kilowatt hour for electric supply. That rate is coming to an end at the end of this year. It's the motion to approve upcoming bid. Right now, when I talk about us saving a little bit of money, then losing a little bit of money, it's because we're really close to the Ameren's rates typically. And right now, our 5 cents that we locked in for 2 years, Ameren's rate is 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And the projection is that it's expected to go up to 12 for this winter. They have not released the winter rate yet. Our consultant is watching the market. They are watching what Ameren does in their next move. When they do so, they will go out to bid for us and everyone in Coles County and the surrounding communities that are connected with us. And the electrical rates are volatile enough right now that every community has to decide whether to be in or out in an hour. Sign it. We do not expect to get there's nothing on the horizon that indicates that we're going to get a wildly different rate than Ameren has right now. And so we are expecting our electric supply rate to go up to 10, 12 cents kilowatt hour. We're enjoying a really good thing right now where we're saving our residents $59 a month over being in Ameren, which is great news of a fairly successful program that by a fluke just landed us in this spot where we save a ton of money. At the end of this year, whatever bid we get is going to be close to Ameren's rate. And so we will make a decision. Dave Cox went to Dave Phipps went to the last meeting with the group with me. I'll also consult with Kyle. We'll make a decision. Mostly what our decision is going to be built around is we've asked them to bid out short-term rates and long-term rates. I do not want to sign a long-term rate, 12 cents a kilowatt hour, and then the world does get better. We start losing money, the money that we've saved up for our residents. We're up to $700 now per household that we have saved people. I don't want to lose that money. If we have to, we will go back to Ameren. It is the closest thing that we're going to get to being using one of their terms, real-time pricing, right? As price comes down, our price will come down. If the price continues to stay high, our price will stay high. As opposed to signing a rate that saves us a very small amount of money per month, but locks us in for 2 months. Anyway, that's the story. And right now, it's all good news. And in January, we are going to and maintain much higher electric rates and natural gas rates, which aren't in this program.
If I can make one comment, the chamber has a program similar to this, and it did go up from 4.9 cents to over 12 cents. So my recommendation is just be very informative. A lot of the members were surprised by the increase. So I would just, the city, whoever you have to, just make sure everyone is aware of that there is going to be a significant.
Right. Yeah.
Any other questions for Dean?
I do. This program, if we approve it, everybody in the community is in it unless they opt out. Is that correct?
Correct.
I just want to make sure on that.
There are a lot of solicitors that will mail you, call you on the phone, knock on your door even. In our program, you don't have to do anything. You're the only program in the world where you don't have to sign a piece of paper. You don't have to say yes to someone on the phone. You can get out of it by doing some work. But anybody that calls and approaches you and says, which happens, that they're signing people up, it's not.
And just to be clear, we're looking at a short-term, a 1-year commitment, is that?
That's what our preference is. Most of the group agreed to the same thing. Our entire group has to sign up for the same term. And so it would be a group decision about what term to accept, and an individual decision of whether to follow.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
But
Any other questions anybody has? Thank you, Dean. Roll call?
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to adopt special ordinance number 2022-1825, approving the annexation of property containing 2.36 acres located on section 16 of Lafayette Township and containing 3.64 acres located in section 21 of Lafayette Township, both lying west of Interstate 57. Petitioner is Melvin R.E. Holdings LLC. This is a property next to the sports complex, and I need a second on that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Graven, second. And any question anybody has about this one? Comments?
I'll just say that it is southeast of Home Depot, right along the interstate, two small slivers that originally were with property on the east side of the interstate. They've been sold those to the Melvin RE Holdings and weren't annexed earlier, but now are willing to be annexed. So.
Any other question anybody has? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to adopt special ordinance number 2022-1825, updating the Mattoon Comprehensive Plan by amending the commercial areas plan map and the land use plan map. Can I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Commissioner Cox, and any comments?
This is basically the same area. It's east and southeast of Home Depot. Our 2013 comprehensive plan had light industrial business setting area out there, zoning planned. In 2015, we took out a lot of industrial zoning all over the town, and we removed that area from it. And then working with the business district, they don't like the industrial area in the comp plan either, being over a business district, potential business district area. So we just changed that area from industrial to service commercial and residential, and which is very similar to what the current zoning map is.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to adopt ordinance number 2022-5457, establishing and designating the Remington Road and I-57 Business District, and approving the Remington Road and I-57 Business District Plan within the city of Mattoon, along with a change to page 20 of the actual ordinance. On that page 20, it refers to the fund as starting out with the term downtown. It should read Remington Road in place of downtown. That's a correction of a clerical error. So it doesn't really change the ordinance at all. Can I have a second on that motion with the change?
Second.
Commissioner Cox, and anybody have any questions about this, or you make any comments?
Like I said, there's just a typo error that was not caught earlier, so.
Okay.
So
And-
two questions.
Yes.
I know we received a letter, the council, late August about the debt limits and how the impact of the debt limits, statutory debt limits is in this project.
Right.
Have we received the written opinion from Thompson and Coburn on that yet?
Well, my understanding is there are no debt we're not dealing with debt limits of the city on this project. We're not borrowing any money at all.
Right, we're committing future revenues, which
Right.
is an encumbrance. And the letter from the former attorney had talked about, we needed to seek a legal opinion. I believe we responded to him saying we would. I didn't know if we've done that yet before this is going to be approved.
I don't think they've got the answer to that yet, but they are working on.
Are they going to give us a letter? Did we ask them to do that?
We did ask Rhonda to give us something. I don't know if it was actually a determination letter, but yes, she's going to respond to that.
But they did give us an opinion of that it would not have an impact on
That was her-
So-
Yes.
it. So yeah, we do not have an opinion letter on this.
Oh.
Any other
And that's-
questions?
I'm concerned about approving it without that opinion. My second question is my understanding was on the business district, we were going to put this business district in regardless of the sports complex.
Excuse me,
Was that the understanding?
the business regardless of the sports
Right.
complex?
Right.
We did do that, I think, too.
Yeah, so in my opinion, shouldn't we strike 16 through 20 altogether? Because that references and ties us in, ties the whole business development to that. And I'm afraid it's going to be restrictive if for some reason business districts decides interest rates are going to be 8% or 9, we're going to postpone it for a little bit. I'm questioning that
The
section in there.
The PGAV did not seem, they know that it may or may not go as a sports complex, and they did not seem to have concerns of changing that out of the business district plan. So,
And with this motion, in this business district, the rebating of all taxes will be the same as for the sports and entertainment complex, including the city's share of 1.5% sales tax will be identical.
the business district sets up the 1% sales tax and 1% hotel tax. It doesn't say exactly what it's going to be spent for. I mean, there's suggestions in there that it could be spent for the sports complex, yes.
But the 1.5% sales tax, so we would retain that.
If we don't have the sports complex. Is that what your point?
No, if we do have the sports,
The
complex,
1.5%
are we
is not-
committing another 1.5% on this, as we did with the sports complex?
This has nothing to do with the 1.5%.
Okay,
That's something that will be addressed later if we do or do not use that.
okay.
What is page 18 referring to that on source of funds to pay the business district project costs? At the bottom, it talks about retailers occupancy tax and service occupation tax. Isn't that the 1.5% or is that the 1%?
No, that's the 1% of the business district.
Does that answer your questions?
Yes.
You did? Okay. Any other questions anybody has? Roll call then.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
I'm going to say no, just because we don't have that legal opinion yet.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-5458, establishing and imposing business district taxes to the Remington Road and I-57 Business District.
And can we get a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps? And any comments anybody or questions have about this item? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to adopt special ordinance number 2022-1827, granting a special use location at 1208 Charleston Avenue, allowing for a cannabis dispensary. The petitioner is TC Applico LLC 071041400-000. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Cox and comments.
I'll just say that it did go before the planning commission last Tuesday. There was a few people that spoke up. I won't necessarily say it was a lot of opposition, but they did have some questions. Their attorney is here in the audience if we have any questions. They did vote in favor of it to recommend it 5-2. I think the paper said 6-1, but I think they got confused that the chairman also voted no on that.
Okay. So any other do we want to have? You gentlemen want to make any comments? All hand? If you need to come up and say who you are, and we have people online, that's reasonable.
Certainly. Good evening, Craig Randall on behalf of the petitioner. Cal, I thought we were 6-0 in favor. I don't recall any opposition to that. So am I?
Yeah, no, there was two. There was a nay, and then the chairman actually said, yes, I'm a nay as well.
Oh, okay.
But there was two nays on that.
Oh, okay.
But,
All right, very good. Good evening. I'm here along, I also have along with me Mitch Zavoduk from the Justice Cannabis, and certainly here to answer any issues or questions you may have. One of the questions I think which was not raised or addressed, want to make a point of is the tax ramifications, what the village will get, city will get as a result of this. It's 3% of the sales, 3% of the gross sales, and that the projected sales are somewhere in the $400,000 to $800,000 range. The group that will be doing this, as indicated in our petition and as discussed, operates a number of dispensaries throughout the United States. We just now have been the recipients of licenses to do recreational, so we're in the process of getting approvals throughout Illinois on that. But short of that, any questions that you may have, happy to answer, or otherwise Mitch could answer as well.
I got a quick question on the medical side. Do you have is there a medical license available or permit?
No. At this time, only recreational is what we have. Initially, there were 55 medical licenses granted. Those were all taken, and some of those folks also had recreational. This round, it's just recreational, and with the exception, I believe, of just one other dispensary, you're either medical or recreational, not both. Medical people can buy, but it's a little bit different on the taxes if you're not set up at that.
Do you plan to apply for medical if they open that up again? For
I'll
this?
let Mitch answer that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to come up and state your.
Hi, Mitch Zavoduk with Justice Cannabis Company. We would absolutely apply for a medical license. The state merely offered 55 medical licenses about 4 years ago, and the state has yet to open up any other medical licenses within the entire state. So it's unfortunate because the medical patients do get a break on the taxes that they pay. When they go to a dispensary, it takes off not the municipal tax, but they get a break off the state tax. So if the state were to open that application process up, we would absolutely apply full force. That would be.
That's the tax relief is the only thing really different between the recreational and the medical. Is that right?
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Because someone can use the recreation for medical purposes.
Absolutely. In fact, that's, because there's only 55 medical dispensaries in the state of Illinois, a huge portion, I don't know what percentage of cannabis users are using it for medical purposes, either directed by their physician or they're self-medicating. They've got, trouble sleeping at night or PTSD, and it's been recommended to them that they try cannabis. And for them, it's a medical purpose. They would be able to get a medical card if they were to apply for one. But if there isn't a medical dispensary in their community, unfortunately, they're going to have to go to a recreational dispensary. They'll still get the exact same product. There's no difference in from inside the store on the product level. It's just they wouldn't get the benefit that the state would like to offer them on the taxes. Our hope is that the state will open up the medical program into a much broader program in the near future.
Okay. Any other questions we have for these gentlemen?
And what are the anticipated annual gross revenue?
So we anticipate anywhere from, a gangbusters dispensary might make $20 million in a year. A average dispensary might make around $10 million a year. We kind of think that this will be somewhere in the average area here. Mattoon is a great location. It's not super populous in terms of the number of people here, but we would be one of the few dispensaries in the area, certainly the only one in Mattoon, and perhaps one of the ones for a long distance around in Coles County. So a quick answer to your question, at $10 million a year, 3% of that would be $300,000 directly to the city, and we hope to do a lot more than that. So many of our dispensaries do, anywhere from 12 to $15 million.
I think your documentation to the planning commission showed maybe 5 million in revenue.
That's what you said. You said 150,000 anticipated revenue.
Yeah, I think that was the low end of their range.
Okay. I
Just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
Thank you. I apologize. I don't mean to be misleading at all. It's when we enter into a new market, it's really difficult for us to guess what our revenues will be. I'm trying to give you low ends, high ends. I don't think we'll be anywhere near that $20 million range. That's a dispensary in Schaumburg that's doing that up in the suburbs of Chicago. Some of the ones that I'm aware of that are in similar communities to Mattoon are in that $5 to $10 million range. I'm hopeful that this one is going to be closer to the $10 million range simply because of a lack of competition nearby, and it'll be one of the few in the area and new to the area. So. We're very hopeful about this. That's why we chose this location. We were very high on Mattoon when we were scoping the areas and strategically picking where we wanted to be.
Any other questions anybody has?
Another question. Our original guidelines were not to be within 2,500 feet, correct?
Yeah.
Of a school, after school program, daycare.
It was 2,500 feet of another dispensary, and I thought it was 1,500 feet of a school.
Of a school.
Daycare. And then we had people concerned about it, other people looking at the community, and we did go back to zoning and asked if they'd reduce it. We talked about even reducing it down with the state. The state is 1,500 between dispensaries. There's no distance from a school or anything. State guidelines. The planning commission didn't want to go that far, and so they recommended 1,000 feet from any school or daycare. And then we made the change to our ordinance after planning commission recommended that.
I just have concerns being 3 blocks from the new lift building, library, YMCA. There are some after-school programs. Based on $150,000 if on the low end, that's about 0.6% of our $23 million budget. So it's not really enough to sway me. That's my thoughts.
Any other questions?
I just had a question. I had a citizen ask me about the Fit to Serve program at the corner of 14th and Lafayette. This local school bus drops off kids there. I don't know what kind of I know they have a partnership. I didn't know if that would qualify them as like an annex to a school, or if that's just kind of like an after-school program, just the school district buses.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's not a school. Which is what our ordinance is, a school.
Okay. I was not in favor of the original change in the ordinance, so I'm not overly keen on this, but that's my opinion.
All right. Any other questions anybody has? Anybody? All right, roll call then.
Commissioner Graven,
No.
Commissioner Phipps,
No.
Commissioner Clausen,
No.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay, that motion fails. So that's,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lawson, next item.
Motion to adopt special ordinance number 2022-1828, substitute declaring personal property owned by the municipality surplus and authorizing the sale or disposal of the property.
Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on that item anybody has?
It's amended.
Excuse me?
Right.
He substituted it.
Did he
Yeah,
substitute? Okay, thank you.
substitute. The word substitute goes in.
Thank you.
What did we do?
My
He asked
mistake.
about an amendment, and with the substitute, it amended the extra toolbox that was added.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you guys,
Mistake, sorry about that.
So it was good.
we okay on that then? We had a minor change. All right, any other comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to approve council decision request 2022-2297, approving the purchase of a 2022 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor in the amount of $39,745 from Pilsen Auto Center for the Mattoon Police Department, and authorizing the police chief to sign the retail buyer's order. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Clausen, and any comment on that? Anything?
Our squad got ran into a wreck and total and made a new one.
Are we doing a hybrid?
Not this time. He's got one Ford utility left. It's not a hybrid. The other place that has the state bids didn't have any left, so it is what it is. But looking at next year, we are ordering hybrids. In fact, we already did. But unfortunately, at this time, he doesn't have any.
Any other questions? And roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
I abstain.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Make a motion to adopt special ordinance number 2022-1829, approving a memorandum of understanding, MOU, between the City of Mattoon and the Mattoon Firefighters Association Local 691, providing clarification on hiring probationary firefighters and authorizing the mayor to sign the MOU.
And a second on that motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on that? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yep.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yep.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. And I move to adopt resolution number 2022-3211, adopting the Coles County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Commissioner Graven, and anybody want to make any comments on it? Okay.
Just we need to adopt it for some of our grants and stuff like that, so we've adopted earlier versions, so it's just keeping up with the newest version of their hazardous mitigation plan. And Jeff, did you guys have some work on that as well when they did that last time, or?
Last time.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
And make a motion to approve council decision request 2022-2298, approving the reappointments of John Clarkson, Melissa Harden, Skylar Harden, Joyce Jackson, and Joy Miller, and appointing Dustin Manafort to the Mattoon Arts Council, MAC, for terms ending September 30th, 2024.
A second on that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Clausen is a second, and any comments, questions?
Very dedicated and artistic and just a good group of individuals that contribute a lot of time and passion to the Arts Council. Angela?
Yeah, this was, as all groups evolved, this is really the next generation of Arts Council compared to when we started, and they're just all ready to do things, and they're a real working group, so I really appreciate them.
Great. Roll call then.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. And next is department reports, city administrator and community development, Kyle Gill.
Been working on several of those agenda items that were on tonight. The mayor and I went to the IML conference Thursday through Saturday of last week. Very good turnout, very good seminars. Been working with our city attorney and Jeff on arbitration with the fire department, which is scheduled for November 16th and 17th. I think I stated this at the last meeting, but it continues. Solar fields, the state of Illinois is going to open up some licenses for those and grants November 1st. So there's several of them calling, wanting to get zoning changes in our community to be able to get special uses for those. I've been working on several property disputes, zoning questions, and some sale of city property. So I've been working on several different things. As far as permits, we've done 45 permits in the last 2 weeks, 2 demos, 4 electric, 11 fence, 10 plumbing, 6 cut street, 5 buildings, and 7 mechanical permits. So with the weather change, I think the mechanical permits will start increasing quite a bit here once we get the first cold snap. That's all I have unless you have questions.
Any questions? All right, next is city attorney Dan Jones.
I've been working on several projects, some with Kyle, some with Dean. Some of them I think will appear on the next city council agenda. I'm hearing from the attorneys for the solar powered people, and Kyle and I will be talking about that. They're coming up too. So lots on the plate, but otherwise business as normal. Happy to answer questions about anything.
All right, next, if we have no questions, city clerk Susan O'Brien.
I've been answering some questions about our RFP that we sent out for the insurance and dealing with just day-to-day items.
Okay, any questions for Susan? Finance, Beth Wright.
So first I have the August financial report. The first 4 months of the fiscal year, so we're a third of the way through. General fund had revenue of just over 9.4 million, expenditures of just under 8.5. So revenue over expenditures to date of roughly $915,000. Compared to a year ago at this time, we were at almost $1,010,000. So we're pretty close. One thing I would mention is that in July, we received property taxes, and then those were returned dispersed in August. So they're reflected here. Cash position citywide at the end of August was 23.1 versus 24.3 at the end of July. Revenue tracking, the information that's new since our last meeting is income tax, 149,000. Use tax, 59,000, sales tax, 725,000, telecommunications tax, 42,000. Department of Revenue had released the second quarter sales tax information, so I did updated the analysis of the industry, the SIC codes. I did add a percentage change column. So for the first quarter, we were down 1.94% from the year prior. Second quarter, we're down 3.85%. And you'll see that the automotive and filling stations is the biggest category where there was a decrease. I would mention that on sales tax, year-to-date, we're $3,449,000. And whereas our budget is $3,333,000, so we're ahead of the budget in terms of sales tax, even with these decreases from the year prior. I would mention that in the council packet were TIF payments, annual TIF payments, and the grand total is over $443,000, with a couple of strays possibly to come. But a lot of money has the tips have really developed to the point where they're making a difference. Yesterday, we received the second check for the ARPA money, $1,198,565.56. That's in the bank today, and that will probably be the last of the money that we'll receive. Unrestricted cash in the general fund as of today, 10.66 million, including the ARPA money, whereas 2 weeks ago it was 8.86. So as I mentioned, with the sales tax and the income tax payments coming through, the cash sort of bounces between two lines. So I think we're right sort of in line. And that's all I had to report.
A lot of information. Any questions anybody has for Beth? Hearing none, let's see, we'll go next to Dean Barber, Public Works.
I'll just say real quickly that we have a lot of positive movement happening on our 3 grant funded projects that we'll be bidding out. After the first of the year, this is skipping downtown. The bike trail extension from 10th to 16th Street and the sidewalk project out on the all 3 funding agencies are giving us really good feedback and things are starting.
Okay. Any questions for Dean? And fire report, Chief Jeff Hillendoss.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last meeting, the guys have answered 143 calls for service. Our inspectors have done 4 different inspections and follow-ups. Last Wednesday, one of those calls, we had a structure fire at 8 o'clock Moultrie. The guys did phenomenal. Within 5 minutes of us being on scene, we had the fire knocked down. Kept the fire to the room of origin. This fire ended up being suspicious in nature. So we called the state fire marshal in, called PD, Deputy Chief Hurst came down. And having all 3 of those agencies work together just fell in line. We do feel that this was an arson. However, unfortunately, our person of interest was found deceased in Roseland Cemetery on Saturday. So we are still working with the property owner, with their insurance company to try to get them work through that. The guys did training down at the training building, doing some firefighter evolutions. They had EMS OB emergencies. Hopefully they don't have to use that this week. We're also in the midst of all the annual timed school fire drills. We go to all the schools and time their exit. It's a state mandate that they have the fire department out there timing them. We did get the used ambulance in for inspection. They got the new motor put in it. There were some parts issues that took a little bit longer, but I needed to get it in on the 12th to be inspected. So they brought it to us. It passed inspection. Then they took it back to wrap it to make it look like the rest of the ambulances. Hopefully we will have that Monday the 26th, Monday or Tuesday, 26th or 27th, and be able to utilize it. The guys have also been out flow testing hydrants, and just, I won't go in great detail with this. I just would like to give you all a heads up that I'm shooting for January of bringing to you to adopt the new life safety code for our inspectors to utilize. We are under 2003,
Yeah.
Is that the code?
That's what the building and codes are, but I'm not sure
Okay.
your life.
We're currently operating under the 2003 Life Safety Code. And we are getting 23's Life Safety Code book for us to go through, and I'll be coming with recommendations of what we would like to adopt in there and what we don't want. One of the big ones in the new code requires sprinklers for residential that I think we want to omit from our ordinance. But that'll be, I'm going to shoot for having all that compiled into you to hopefully go into effect in June. So that's all I've got, unless anybody has. The reason for this, when the guys do the inspections with our current image trend software, they do not have the ability to upload the life safety codes into our software. So if somebody has a violation for an exit sign, we used to be able to just highlight, copy and paste that into the letter. With this new software, since they can't upload that life safety code book that we're currently using, they don't have that ability. So it doesn't look as professional. Plus, there's some changes in there that we need to get updated. So, good. That's all I got, unless anybody's got any questions.
All right. Police Chief Gaines?
Just the 2-week stats since we last met, had 1,228 calls logged and 42 arrests.
Okay. That's it. Any questions we have for Chief Gaines? Arts and Tourism, Angelia?
Working on Lightworks. Incredible response. I think we're at double our waiting list that we entered last year's season. So a lot of people very interested, and always exciting when the checks start coming in and people are still interested. So that's good. So we're working on that in the office. The Fall Follies will open October 6th in the Lone Elm Room. And then we have Christmas Theater after that, so it's just back-to-back theater. Working on 2023 plans, both from an Arts Council standpoint and from a tourism standpoint. But I wanted to also give a nod or a shout out to the Mattoon Library, which is doing the Manhattan Shorts Global Film Festival. They've done this a couple years. I believe it probably was skipped during COVID, but I've gone to this before, and it's one of those things where they're just so remarkable, and it's unbelievable that Mattoon is hosting this. It's only in a handful of places across the world, and you get to vote. There are several shorts that you get to watch that are high quality. There's an incredible thing that happens in a very short amount of time. Just a few minutes, you get to see the entire story, and then you get to vote on your favorite, and it's a global contest. So I would highly recommend that. We oftentimes will go, we have something to do here. Well, yeah, there is. There's a lot to do, and you should go to the Mattoon Library and do it. There's 5 opportunities, the 22nd of September, 27th of September, and also October 2nd. And I would just love for you guys to be able to enjoy that. That's all I have.
Any questions? Anybody? All right, let's see. The last one is comments by the council. And we will start with Commissioner Lawson.
Mayor, just one thing, a couple of inquiries. I think the council got one from Kyle, from a lady. Any update on a vote on the chicken ordinance or revisions, or when that might be ready?
We've updated the ordinance with the penalties that were discussed at the last meeting. We do not intend to bring it back to council at this time.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I have.
And Commissioner Cox?
Nothing this evening.
Okay. And Commissioner Graven?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Okay, and Commissioner Phipps?
Nothing but thank you, Alex. Great job.
And myself. We talked a little bit about the Illinois Municipal League Conference. We did make a lot of good contacts, I think. Up there, there's some things we ought to take a look at to improve our community. And it was a well worthwhile trip. And so, anyway. Go ahead. Yeah, any question you might have? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Commissioner Clausen, anybody like to second that?
Second.
And roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven.
No.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Hey, Bart. Yes, I.
Meeting adjourned.